Hello, everyone, and welcome to 1923 Main Street.
Home of the Daddy-Daughter Disney Travel Podcast. We're your hosts.
I am Mike Bello-Braddock.
And I'm Amelia Bello-Braddock. And today we are going to be doing part one of our two-part series all about the Grand Floridian Hotel and Spa.
Actually, Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa.
Resort and Spa.
It's funny you say that because a lot of times I'll catch myself saying the Grand Californian Resort, but it's the Grand Californian Hotel, but it's the Grand Floridian Resort.
What's the difference?
It's just how they named them.
I
Nomenclature.
guess resort sounds more sophisticated.
Well, actually, it's true. The Grand Floridian is much more resort-like, which we are going to get into. Now, we have never done a two-part episode before, but we're doing one today because
There's so much to talk about,
and hopefully you appreciate, we do try to keep our episodes to approximately 30 minutes or less.
Yeah.
We don't do hour and a half long episodes, so we're going to make this a two-parter. So whether or not you're a fan of Disney's Grand Floridian Resort, or you've never stayed there before and you're wondering if you should,
or if you hate it and want to be proved wrong, this episode's for you.
I like that the best. I love defending the Grand Floridian Resort. We will say up front, it is our favorite Disney resort at Walt Disney World by a long shot.
Oh, and I also want to say this is not like a one-time stay and review also.
So we should say, if you listen to us, you know, we're fairly regular Disney travelers, and I'm at now just over 100 vacations, and you're at 30 or 28 or something as a 12-year-old?
Almost 30.
So, 100 weeks for me or more, and 30 weeks for Emilio. I've stayed at the Grand Floridian. We stay there more frequently now, but I would say probably 15 to 18 weeks I've spent there, 15 to 18 of those vacations.
I've spent probably 6.
Yeah, you're at least 6 weeks.
And I'm only 12. And we've stayed at club level, regular rooms.
Villas. So we know the hotel. That's our
inside
caveat.
and out.
It's not based on one stay. It's based on, a lot and a lot. Because anybody can have a bad stay one time or a great stay, but we've stayed there between us well over 30 weeks.
These are our average.
Over half a year in Grand Floridian rooms. So we have a pretty good idea of what it's like consistently. So let's talk about it. There's a lot of history. It was the third hotel at Walt Disney World. Polynesian Contemporary Fort Wilderness came first when it opened, and then the Grand Floridian came in 1988, 100 years exactly after the Inspiration Hotel, which was what?
The Hotel del Coronado in San Diego, California.
Yes, indeed. Another must-do. If you listen to our episode on where to stay for the Disney vacationer when they're not at Disney, you must do the Hotel Del.
And our episode on the California Beach Vacation, episode 5, if you want to go listen to that.
Yes, we also recommend the Del. Now, I only bring up the Del because if you read the official Disney sort of backstory for the Grand Floridian, they will talk about the legendary Henry Flagler in Florida, who created a lot of the Florida beach resorts, really opened up the beach in Florida as a vacation destination.
Yeah.
And they wanted to create a hotel, they said, that sort of harkened back to that old-time era.
I mean, it's not really on the beach anymore.
But they wanted a beach-type hotel. Yeah. But their inspiration, ironically, was a California beach hotel, which opened in 1888, and the Grand
It is beautiful. I can understand why they'd want
Walt Disney stayed there himself. Imagineers went there. So it's not hard to understand why they chose that it looks identical in terms of the red roof.
Like a carbon copy.
Yeah, it's a carbon copy. So definitely Hotel Del, there's a plug for you. We highly recommend it. We stay there
it's amazing.
Fairly regularly. And another little note of history here, it was not originally called Disney's Grand Floridian Resort.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, we're talking about the beach, right? They wanted beach. So it was originally called, as my phone case says, the Grand Floridian Beach Resort. That's what the hotel was named when it opened. Now, what do we have at Walt Disney World now?
The Beach Club and the Yacht Club.
The Beach Club. So, in 1997, they changed the name from Disney's Grand Floridian Beach Resort to Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa because a few years later, the Beach Club did open. So, a little fun fact, if you didn't know that, the original name for almost 10 years was the Beach Resort.
Wow.
Now, I have another. Here's my fun little, I like to try whenever I can to throw in my personal favorite Disney gem trivia bits about the Grand Floridian.
Yeah.
And I told Amelia this one before the episode. I told her I was going to throw it in because I had literally actually forgot about this. But I am a huge fan of the Beach Boys, always have been. If you remember the song Kokomo from Cocktail, I'm going to put a link in the
I
show
don't.
notes. You know the song.
Well, yeah, but not from Cocktail.
No, from the Tom Cruise movie Cocktail. But the video for that was filmed at the Grand Floridian in 1988, the year it opened. So it's so cool. The Beach Boys playing out there in front of the Grand Floridian in 1988, filming Kokomo, and it's interspersed with scenes from the movie. So that was the Grand hitting the big stage right away. And it's sort of cool because John Stamos is actually playing with the
Ooh.
band in the movies or in
That's
the video.
cool.
Yeah.
He also played with them in Full House season 1, and he
Oh,
actually
yeah.
came back to the Grand Floridian in season 6, episodes 23 and 24 for the House Meets Mouse part 1 and 2.
So, yeah.
Also a two-parter at the Grand Floridian.
I'll have
So
to take
much
your
to
word for
do.
that. I was not a big fan of Full House. And how are you? Oh, you're watching it on Netflix or
Yeah.
somewhere?
Netflix.
Yeah, okay.
I may not have watched that
Although I
episodes multiple
I have
times.
to say I do like watching, I love watching any of
I
those.
did convince you to
Any of
watch
those
that
TV
episode.
families go to Disney World and how they magically hop from one park to another instantly.
And how they just magically go. And how half the family's here, and then they're there, and then 5 minutes later, we're all together again.
Yes. And, I have one other tidbit. This one you won't know. So there's another bit of the sort of a forgotten backstory to the Grand Floridian. It was a little bit short-lived. But in downtown Disney, there was a park called Pleasure Island at one point, right? That was all
Yeah.
bars and stuff. And the Grand Floridian was part of the backstory to Pleasure Island.
Really?
Yeah, because there was the Pleasure family that was supposed to have created Pleasure Island, and there's a whole backstory you can look up. But the Grand Floridian was supposedly the Pleasure family's mansion at one point. So that was sort of an awkward twist, I think, on Grand Floridian history. But my favorite bit of its history is that Beach Boys Kokomo video filmed at the Grand.
My favorite
It's
is
funny
when
to watch.
the Tanner family goes there, so...
Yeah, I know a lot of people like that. So let's start, enough about the history. Let's start talking about the hotel itself. The location, which was supposed to originally be something called the Asian Hotel in the early plans.
Okay.
And on a beach where we used to, as youngsters, hang out there and tan. It was all just that white sand, the white sand that was dredged from the bottom of Seven Seas Lagoon when they dug it out and put it on they found this glorious sand. And that's what you see on the Polynesian beach and all the beaches there, that white sand was actually from the bottom of the lagoon.
Cool.
So the Grand Floridian appeared in that location. It's a great spot. So location is one of its prime good things. And even better now when you're going to be able to walk from the Magic Kingdom to the hotel. But it's in a superb location right by the Magic Kingdom, of course, on the monorail loop. A hotel entrance.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's just sort of magical. If that
It really,
makes sense.
it's just grand, right? Everything, you walk into that entrance and they have the
I guess
antique
it's right in the
cars.
name.
And then, rest in peace, Richard, who used to be at the front there, who passed away recently. He was an icon outside the hotel, and a lot of people got pictures with him. And even the newer parts. So the hotel itself has the main hotel, the main building, many outbuildings, and then more recently, the Grand Floridian Villas opened. And even there, I have to say, the scaled down lobby and entrance to the villas is really quite nice with that Mary Poppins fountain.
Oh, yeah. It's beautiful. It's sort of like a second main building.
It's worth going over even if you're not staying at the villas. And of course, we did an episode
Yeah.
on the villas. You don't have to be a Disney Vacation Club member to stay in the villas. If you want more of a condominium style setting, listen to our episode on the villas. But that lobby is beautiful. And the whole thing about the Grand Floridian is it's all in the details. I often see, when I think of Walt Disney's vision for starting with Disneyland, but having guests immersed in the magic and, the Grand Floridian, to me, is the ultimate of total immersion. Polynesian, too, is close, but the Grand Floridian, down to the minutest detail. There's so much detail in that lobby, so much Victorian detail in there. Like it's from everything from the bird cage to the piano playing to that elevator. I mean, the old style. It's like the real one at the Hotel Del. So I
Although
think
it does not have an elevator operator.
yeah, but I mean, I don't think it's any accident that, it's the Victorian charm, right? The hotel is filled with it. It's all the Victorian charm that I really love. It's elegant and timeless. It's not stuffy. the piano, the bird cage, like I said, and there's some really cool hidden Mickeys in there.
And it also doesn't seem forced, which is what I really like. It sort of seems natural, even though it is based off of something.
Yeah, exactly. It's, in my opinion, very well done. Now,
Yeah.
so what does the Grand Floridian offer? So it is expensive. It is the most expensive hotel on site owned by Disney.
Yeah.
There's the Four Seasons as well, technically on site.
Yeah.
Now, dining is one of the things that is just over the top at the Grand Floridian. There's 8 or 9 places you can dine there.
And that's just not even counting pool bars and everything, right?
I used to say to someone, counting pool bars, I think it's 9.
Wow.
So I think there's 7 without it. And I used to say when I was selling travel, just to make the point, how is the Grand Floridian different? People would ask, why is it? Well, you know what? It is the most luxurious. Is it true luxury? We'll get into that in a minute. But it definitely, in Disney terms right now, it is the most luxurious. But you could eat on site at a different dining establishment every single day of a typical 7-day vacation and eat at a different place.
Yeah.
Right? You've got, let me just go through them quickly. This is how much dining. If you've never stayed there, Gasparilla Island Grill, they're quick service.
Yeah.
Do you like Gasparilla?
Who doesn't like Gasparilla?
It's a lot better since they changed and updated the menu. Then you've got 1900 Park Fare.
Ah, yes.
Character dining, 2 different ones. I mean, technically, I could count that as 2, but I don't. There's a breakfast and a dinner.
A dinner. If you want a dinner every night, that is only one. So
Grand Floridian Cafe, which we highly recommend, underrated.
Ooh, yes.
Citricos, another good one.
Ah.
Narcoossee's on the water. Used to be my favorite. I think it slipped a bit, but still a good spot.
It's not bad.
Good location. Victoria and Albert's.
Yes.
Now there is the Enchanted Rose, which took over Meisner's, and their truffle fries are amazing. So, that's another spot you can eat. And of course, on top of all that, that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You've got the 2 pool bars, which also serve food. So,
you could also eat at 2 different nights if you have children under 10 who can't go to Victoria and Albert's, or if the what do you call it? The Rose Bar.
Oh, the Enchanted Rose.
Enchanted Rose.
It's from Beauty and the Beast.
It's so elegant.
It is elegant.
If it's too elegant for your
like
7-year-old.
4 different spots in there, yeah.
Yeah, if it's too elegant for your little kids, pool bars are always open.
It's even the tea room and other things. There,
oh, yeah.
So
these are just main
dining at the Grand Floridian there's nothing even close. No other resort hotel. And shopping for that matter, too. Even though we lost a store when they put in the Enchanted Rose, they combined the men's and women's shops. There still is quite a bit of shopping there. So, in fact, the Grand Floridian is a destination for people who aren't staying there.
Well, it should be.
And I'm gonna go out of it on my limb of just saying what I think. And Grand Floridian is a place everybody wants to stay. And I used to say, if people say they don't want to stay there, they're lying. Right? People come there to look at it, and people dream of staying there. So don't dream it, do it, as Disney would say. Put off one vacation, stay at the Grand Floridian, because it is an amazing experience.
Yeah.
And we find the cast members treat you as you would expect to be treated at the Grand Floridian. There is just a higher level of service and accommodation there.
And I mean, of course, all cast members are quite amazing. Well, most cast members are amazing, but it's sort of even a higher
level. Anyone can have a bad day, but we've had our most incredible sort of magical moments as we talk to, as we do on the show sometimes, always at the Grand Floridian, more so than anywhere else. And there's another bit of history, right? It used to be called, it was called the Crown Jewel.
Why?
Well, it was called the Crown Jewel because
Why?
The whole Magic Kingdom area, when it was just early Disney days, it went through a phase where their marketing was the vacation kingdom of the world. And the idea was that the Grand Floridian was the crown jewel in the crown of that kingdom. So that's where the crown jewel comes from. And it really is.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, it was. I loved the vacation kingdom of the world. It was such a cool marketing. And that's when I was in the video.
Oh, Daddy.
Way back when I got to do that promotional video with Disney.
Did you get paid?
No, but I got to ride a boat for free for half a day. Like one of the mini speedboats.
So technically you saved your parents' money.
Yeah. My mom had to sign off and all that stuff, but it was fun. My sister didn't want to do it, but I did.
Always trying to steal the spotlight, I see.
So we
Like
love the
me?
lobby, right? There's so much in the lobby. It's so grand. It's filled with details. As soon as you walk into that hotel, their aroma, do we not love their aroma?
We love their aroma. Actually, we just bought some candles with that aroma.
Well, we got that gifted by, you know who, our very good friends.
Our amazing friends.
Do a little shout out.
To Chris and Cassandra.
Just
Thank you
Chris and
so
Cassandra,
much.
that beautiful scented
Also-
charmed aroma, free plug for charmed aroma, that
You
Minnie
didn't
Mouse
think it
candle.
sounded like the Grand Floridian.
That smell
at
is the
first.
grand. I mean, we like Disney
I
scented
thought it was
candles.
unmistakable.
Yeah. It took me a couple of whiffs, but it really is. Especially reminds me of the upper floor near
It's
Basin
just-
White and M Mouse Mercantile. It smells like the Grand
Close your
Floridian
eyes and
lobby.
you sniff it. It's
Yeah.
like
I love
the
it,
most
sniffing it even
amazing thing in the
cold.
world.
But
Yeah.
it's also the grounds. So the Grand Floridian grounds, they're
Yeah.
huge, but not as big. It's not Saratoga. It's not
They're
65 acres.
Huge. There's so much to do, yet it all feels like one small community.
That's a great way of looking at it. And
Why,
I mean,
thank you.
it's reasonable. We've got two pools, right? We've got the beach pool and we've got the bigger courtyard pool, which
There's splash pads.
yeah, there's a Alice in Wonderland themed splash pad. There's a health club, the Senses Spa.
Which
You
is
were
in
about
the
to say.
name.
Yes, of course. There's the campfire and
Fishing, boat rentals,
nighttime movies.
the Grand One yacht,
The Grand One yacht. We've did that in our bucket list episode. There's an arcade.
a running trail.
If you like to run. And you know what? I talked on photography. I love getting up early and taking photos, as you know, and that's who I always see people out on that running trail early. And even
Yeah.
across the street at the health club,
Yeah.
there's basketball.
And there's also golf.
Right across the street, Magnolia and Palm, two incredible courses. And of course, next door, there is the wedding pavilion,
Yes.
the Grand Floridian Wedding Pavilion. There's the Villas building, which we talked about. And there's a conference center there as well.
Yeah, there's just so much.
And I mean, being this is the hotel, you sometimes, if you're lucky, see the horse and carriage for a wedding, traveling
yeah.
across the grounds for those amazing photos.
Everyone looks so happy.
And the
Why
Grand
not?
Floridian, if you want to stay there, yes, it's more expensive, but there are several room options there. You've got your standard rooms, which are quite amazing. It's the
Yeah.
Grand Floridian after all. We prefer the water views, but you've got
Yeah.
some standard water. There's all sorts of great views there. Theme park or just looking out on Seven Seas Lagoon.
There's 2 club levels, not 1, but 2.
Count them two. That's right. There's the Royal Palm Club in the main building, which we love, but there's also Sugarloaf Key, a whole building
They're both
right by the marina, which has some great views in itself. Also good. The thing about the rooms there, a lot of time if you're traveling, if you have a family of 5, which is sometimes the turning point on some hotel rooms, if you cross over 4, now you're into, do I need 2 rooms? Or, that's where I suggest villas are an option. But the Grand Floridian will sleep 5. They will allow 5 in a room, and plus a crib if you have a child under 3.
Okay, Daddy. Well, I'm going to throw in a quick this or that on rooms for you.
Ooh, okay.
Thinking of our family of 3, now this would obviously differ depending on how many people are in your family. For our family of 3, this or that, a regular Grand Floridian water view versus a villa water view.
Well, I like the villa rooms better.
Yeah.
So I would take the villa water view. And
Now-
because we have a special request, we get that theme park view, which isn't officially one
Now,
because it's obstructed. Yes.
what about this? The Sugarloaf club level versus villas.
Oh, see, that's close.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. I think I'll take a Sugarloaf club level.
Yeah.
Just
And-
because we don't stay. I don't think I've ever stayed in the Sugarloaf building, to be honest.
And I
we
mean,
always stay Royal
yeah, if
Palm.
you're going to go club level,
Yeah, but
then
so I would
you
try it,
probably
given
go-
that choice.
and close, but I mean, club level just takes the cake. It's
So-
just exceptional.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, the monorail's right there. You're one stop
Yeah.
from the Magic Kingdom.
Which is
And-
the thing I like staying about the main building as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
That's how I
Right
get
there.
annoyed about the villas. It's like the only reason.
Oh,
I
you've
don't-
got to walk for 10 feet.
I'm a lazy person.
It's
What
like
can I
less
say?
than 10 minutes.
It's also less than walking from the end of the monorail to the entrance of the Magic Kingdom, but still.
Yeah. So you're one stop by monorail and you're one stop
Exactly.
back by boat or walking when the walkway
Yeah.
comes into play.
And honestly, the monorail loop isn't that long. And what I do love is the Grand Floridian just keeps getting better.
Yeah, they've been doing a lot of changing. So one thing I wanted to talk about is this thing about luxury. So,
Yeah.
and I heard something interesting recently that I really hope is true. So, Bob Chapek is coming in ultimately to run the show at Disney, and I have heard a couple of things which encourage me. So, first of all, if you're a luxury traveler, a true luxury traveler, non-Disney, I just mean you. So you like Ritz-Carltons, you like Four Seasons, boutique upscale hotels, that type of thing, for sure. And you want to stay at a Disney immersed on site, the Grand Floridian is your top Disney hotel. However, there is the Four Seasons.
Yeah, but that's not really Disney.
It's not Disney, and it's a bit further away. They do have some character things there, and it's a beautiful hotel, and it is in Golden Oak, so it's in the Disney.
Okay.
That's where it's located, right? It's not far, but I mean, you see it from the Contemporary.
It's not in the monorail loop or anything.
It's not a Disney-owned hotel. So there's a couple of things I've heard recently. So a lot of the changes going on at the Grand Floridian, the little ones like Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique and Enchanted Rose, I heard were driven by Bob Chapek's dissatisfaction that the Grand Floridian is not truly luxury. It's luxury by Disney standards. It's their most luxurious resort, and it's pretty close, but it is not top tier luxury around the world.
Okay.
It is not at the level of a Four Seasons or, a Ritz-Carlton.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So Disney's been buying up some land recently, right? Small little
Disney's
parcels.
always buying land, but
200
yes.
acres here and there. And one of the things, could be purely speculation and rumor, but one of the things I read was the potential for a true luxury resort to be built. And
we're going to stay there, right, Daddy?
boy, do I hope that's true.
We have to review it for the podcast, of course.
I would hope now. It would be off. It would break my rules of being close to the stuff, but like close to parks, because where they're located.
Oh, but Daddy, we'd have to review it for our listeners.
Absolutely, we would. So it would. And the other thing that the Grand Floridian can never have is bungalows. I'm sure they, I guess they could put some on.
It wouldn't.
They would have to take away
really.
that little. There's a beautiful path that I like. Not beautiful, but it's a nice walk from the Grand Floridian to the Polynesian.
Oh,
and there's
yeah.
a little bit of the white sand beach where we used to have suntan is left there. It's all blocked off now from the water, as they've done with everything.
It's for safety reasons, of course.
But I guess you could put some grand villas, bungalow villas there.
Ooh.
Now, those I could see being over the top.
Of course. Review, podcast.
But, so, we'll see if this true luxury resort, its own category, ever comes into play. But for now, we have the top tier deluxe Grand Floridian. And,
Yeah.
It is loaded with Victorian charm. And here's some of the things. It's not stuffy. It's a very nice, welcoming resort hotel. And I highly recommend it's worth exploring.
It's still luxurious, not stuffy. And I think there is a fine line, but the Grand Floridian does not cross it.
It absolutely does not cross it. And seasonal things. This is my final thing I'm going to say in part 1 of this 2-part episode. I want to talk definitely about Christmas and Easter. There is no better place to stay if you're going to be on site in a Disney resort hotel at Easter
you just have to go.
or Christmas, especially Christmas. Now, Easter's great because they have the eggs on display, but on Easter they have an Easter egg hunt on the grounds, and it's gorgeous out on the lawns and everywhere. And they have lawn games regularly, but Easter's great. But Christmas.
Yes. That really steals the show.
Why don't you talk about Christmas
if you're going at Christmas, I know it's expensive, but actually I would recommend saving your grand trip for Christmas, not on actually Christmas Day, but maybe a week or two before.
Yeah,
so
the sort of second, third week of December are ideal.
And then you get the gingerbread house.
Yeah, that lobby. I mean, there's a special candle for Christmas.
There's a candle for everything, Daddy.
That's true. But the Grand Floridian lobby at Christmas, they have that mega tree, as many of the resorts do, in the middle. Great spot for photos. The lobby's elegantly decked out. But that life-size gingerbread house, which is a little shop where you can buy shingles and pieces of gingerbread to take home, and pumping out of the chimney is puffs of smoke of that gingerbread smell. And I remember Once we were in club level there in the Royal Palm, which opens up to the lobby. You take that private elevator
That would have
up.
had to have been probably one of my favorite trips.
And that's when you were 4 and you stood on that balcony and said, I want to live at the Grand Floridian.
Yes,
and I knew
if only
then
that
that
could last
you were
all
my
year.
kid.
And I knew that. Oh, yeah. No, the other 4 years of life didn't give you any
Yeah, no,
clues.
that was it. You were little Mike before that, but then that was it. But that smell just, not overpoweringly, right? They're really good, of course. Disney's,
Perfected everything.
created the aroma smell. Walt used to try to do it in theaters. It didn't really work out because he couldn't get every theater to do it the way he wanted. But yeah, he's really, they've mastered the aromas everywhere. But that Christmas smell at the Grand Floridian is unbeatable. And, whenever I smell it, it just makes me think of that grand lobby, which is really what they want to do with these smells after all.
Yeah, it's not uncreatable, but it's just sort of classic at the Grand Floridian, and it's so original.
Yeah.
And it's so pure, and it's just amazing. There's really no other word.
So all the deluxe hotels are great, and, they each have their own unique personality and ambiance, but the Grand Floridian really is...
Yeah.
There's no question that is above and beyond the most elegant and ultimate Disney hotel on site. Highly recommend staying there. We love it. Now,
Next time on All About the Grand Floridian Resort and
next
Spa.
time I'm going to do a few things. Amelia, I'm going to put you to the test. So get ready for the next episode.
All right.
Because one thing that I hear a lot from people that is, but it's not good for kids.
Liars.
There is, don't give any spoilers because I'll quiz you, but there is a lot of sentiment or disbelief, usually from people, I would say, who haven't stayed there, that it is not a good place for kids. So we're going to talk about is or is not the Grand Floridian a great place to stay with families with kids, and as a kid who's grown up staying there.
And why or why not, and different ages.
And why or why not. We're also going to do a true-false Grand Floridian because there's a lot of just misconceptions about it, right? There's things that I would say are not true or are true, right? So we're going to separate fact and fiction about the Grand Floridian in our part 2. And finally, we're going to give you our top 5 reasons or more why you should stay there versus other resort hotels. So stay tuned for part 2 next week on 1923 Main Street. So thank you, everyone, for joining us for part 1. Share your feedback on Disney's Grand Floridian Resort. You can find us at 1923mainstreet.com, and all our social media is at 1923 Main Street. So we are easy to find. We hope you are fans of the Grand Floridian, or if you're not, we hope to help you appreciate why this hotel is such a great spot today to stay. So we will,
today.
and today, today and every day, Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. So thanks for joining us, everyone. Hope you have a great day, and we'll see you again next week.
Bye-bye.